Hi everyone, back again, doing a really simple recipe today. This is one that you can potentially do for lunches as well as dinners. Um, it is meant to be pretty easy, it's not meant to take long, should probably take 10 minutes in total, and that includes like the cook time. So let's just get straight into it. So today we're basically making a high protein pizza. I know you can get high protein pizzas from Aldi. Yeah, if you want, go for that. I find that overall the macro split still isn't brilliant for me personally. It's just opinion. You're not getting as much protein in comparison to how many carbs there are in it, but it's better than just a normal pizza. But if you want to create your own, this is kind of the way to do it. So I'll go through the ingredients firstly. So firstly, we've got high protein flatbread. You can probably use normal Greek flatbread as well. I'll do a separate video on some stuff like this because I know some people like tracking on top of the macros. They like tracking how processed their food is. I know the high protein stuff like this is quite highly processed. So some people might prefer to do that. So obviously you can use normal kind of flatbreads. I'll do a separate video on that, but for now, I'm just going to focus on the macros. And then later down the line, I'll throw stuff like that in. But yeah, anyway, high protein flatbread. You can get this from Aldi. You want cooked chicken breast slices, again from Aldi. They come in packs of 240 grams. We're going to use half a pack of this, so 120 grams for this recipe. I love these. Again, optional, mixed chilies. So, probably the most important part is I'm going to use Greek yogurt for the base. You can use just like the passata, like really refined passata that you can get. You can use that for the base instead if you want to. This is just going to increase the protein intake. And I actually really like it because I'm going to mix this in with some chopped chili and some chopped garlic. I've also got some seasonings which I will throw some of them into the sauce. I mean, this is definitely going to sauce with some lemon juice. Piri seasoning. Italian mixed herbs, curry powder, just a little bit of this, and then obviously your bases like pepper and salt. This is optional, so this is stuff that I'm going to throw in. It takes that little bit extra time of prep. You don't have to throw this in, it's just that I like having this stuff in my pizzas. So I'm gonna use an onion and some plum tomatoes. Alright, so first step, I'm gonna get this out of the way because this is the optional step. I'm going to just chop up the onion and the plum tomatoes, and then the plan is I'm just going to fry this off in a small frying pan just for a couple of minutes before I put it onto the pizza. Again, if you don't want that on your pizza, you're saving yourself a step. Often, if I'm just doing it for lunches, for example, I won't throw onions, etc. in. I've just got a bit more time today, hence why I'm doing that. So we chop our onion. As I said, you've seen me do this before. This is just the method. I prefer chopping onions and dicing them. Right, gonna use about 5 of the baby plum tomatoes, which is usually about a portion. Just to give you an idea, 5 of these is roughly going to be about 50 grams of plum tomatoes, just so you know. Because I'm frying off the onions and the cherry tomatoes, I'm also going to fry off the chilies with them. You can just add the chilies onto the pizza if you want instead. It's completely preference that. Okay, gonna get your pan up to medium heat. So we've got this up to a medium heat. Gonna get 5 sprays of this, just very light. And then we're gonna pop in our chilies, the tomatoes, and the onions. And you basically try to fire that off for about 5 minutes. As I said, this is probably the optional step. So while that's happening, I personally like my chicken breast in smaller pieces. It makes it easier to spread around the pizza. So just gonna get them into slightly smaller pieces. Just gonna make it a bit easier, as I said. So yeah, got them into as nice kind of smaller chunks basically. So put them into a bowl. A little bit of the curry powder. Oh, that's enough. Tiny bit of lemon juice. Okay. A little bit of peri-peri seasoning. Italian style herbs. Teaspoons of both of those basically. Some pepper. And some salt. Again, teaspoons of both of those. So my voice is kind of going because, as you can tell, the chilies are definitely having its effect in this kitchen. Anyways, 5 minutes is done. That's what it should be looking like. Not too, just a little bit brown basically. Not too cooked. All the spices are in there now, so we're going to give this a good mix. Also, I seem to have forgotten one of the biggest ingredients for this pizza, which is obviously cheese. So we've got our lighter, 50% lighter cheddar cheese, again from Aldi. Okay, Gonna make our base slash sauce. So gonna start with a teaspoon of chopped garlic. Teaspoon of chopped chili. Again, I would use spices that you prefer. So if you don't really like spice, then maybe go for more garlic, inspired herbs, like Italian style, etc. I'm gonna add a few Italian style herbs in there. And some peri seasoning. Okay, now I've got a Greek style yogurt. We're gonna put 50 grams in here. Cool. Okay, and then we're gonna give it a good mix. Okay, we can now go ahead and put our pizza together. So we're going to start with that flatbread. Now you've got your sauce, or your base. So I would just use a teaspoon for this. I may put half of it on for now. So that's about 25 grams there. And then spread it. That's usually enough for me, and then what I do with the rest is I'll save the other 25 grams to use as actual sauce that I can have with the pizza. But this is all preference. Like if you prefer more sauce on your pizza, then you can use more or less of it basically and create kind of a separate sauce with the Greek yogurt. So yeah, you're just going to use a spoon to spread it onto the base, like so. Okay, brilliant, that looks good. Next, your chicken's going to go on. So again, you want to get it all around the pizza. Okay, great. Next comes the onions and the tomatoes, etc. So again, this is an optional step. So if you haven't done this, obviously, nothing to worry about. But yeah, we're just gonna get that. Finally, I measured a portion of tortilla cheese, so 30 grams of that. And again, just gonna sprinkle that over. This is again an additional step. I'm actually gonna pop this in the fridge because I'm not gonna have this till later. This just allows everything to kind of, sit and almost marinate in there, and then after that I'll put it into the air fryer when I'm ready. You can skip this step and you can pop this straight into the air fryer, 180 degrees for 5 minutes basically. That's all you're going to need. But yeah, we'll return back. It'll be a little bit longer, probably about 7-8 minutes if you pop it in the fridge. But I'll return back once I actually cook this. Best way of actually transferring this is to use a spatula. You can get a decent amount there, and you can use your hand for the rest of it. That's the best way to transfer it, I'd say, into the air fryer. So I'll see you back soon. Okay, so coming back a little bit later, so I'm now ready to eat the pizza, so I'm gonna pop it in the air fryer. Probably just been a couple of hours, I'd say. So we're just gonna use a spatula and just transfer it nice and easy. Okay. So we're gonna start by putting this in for 6 minutes, I think, at 180 degrees, and just see where that gets us to, and then we can always put it in for longer if needed. Yeah, there you go, that's it. Okay, so 6 minutes was actually enough, so we're gonna just pop the pizza out. I'm gonna get this into a few slices. I would probably say for the side of the flatbread, probably about 4. About 4, yeah. Okay. Right, pop that away. Okay, so we'll put it up. I'll put the sauce in a little ceramic pot like that, and you got it in the middle. But there you go, there it is. It's high protein pizza. I'm gonna put the macros in shortly. Yeah, I'll put the macros in this for you shortly. But it is 42 grams of carbs, 15 grams of fat, and 55 grams of protein. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next one.